Hi everyone, I'm Erica Del Sordo, host of United Country Dicks Realty Real Estate Talk. Welcome. Today I have an in-house guest with United Country Dicks Realty, our very own realtor, Vic Lantroop. Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
And he's got his
Good.
guest.
Yep, Maddie's on my lap.
Maddie runs around. She loves us. She's kind of like the office mascot. I love it.
Yeah.
But Vic has something that he does more so than just a realtor in this office, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him to you today. And that's because he also does rental properties, which is a big thing with a lot of people, coming up here. Maybe they want to rent first. So talk to me about how long you've been a realtor here with Dicks Realty and your rental stuff.
All right, well, I've been in the rental business here in town. I started out at another office, and I was there for about 15 years. And then that office changed, and I moved over here with Brad. Brad and his family's had a long history of real estate in this town, and I was always attracted to that. And of course, I coached football here in town, and his boys are twins, and they also played ball. And I watched Brad and his wife. They were just great folks, and I was really happy that he accepted me to part of the team, really. So
I love that.
But I came here really as a property manager,
Oh.
but as you have to have a license, you have to do real estate and property management together if you're going to be effective.
Well, this is true. That's why you're so successful. Right?
Yeah, well, it's nice to have a side hustle within the profession, let's put it that way, because real estate's a very up and down market, as most people know.
It is. And so let's talk about, I know you've got a daughter who does something second as well, and she was on our podcast a little bit ago, Lacey.
Yeah, Lacey does. Lacey and I were father and daughter, but we've been joined at the hip since day one. She's just one of those girls that followed her daddy everywhere and everything he did. So she naturally took an interest in real estate, and we brought her through the hoops there. I told her it was a 2 to 5 year process. No matter how good you are, it's going to take you about that long to get your feet on the floor. And then at some point, you got to develop another career within the business, because when real estate's not selling, now you got to go out and find something else to stay in the game.
Right.
So anyway, home inspections is what she started.
Hard worker too.
Yeah. She's really got a great work ethic, and she proved that because we were cutting grasses on all my rental properties as kids. I was teaching them, how to crank lawnmowers and how to mix fuel and how to start stuff and how to hook up a hitch and just little simple things that folks need to do to be able to function. And so she just loved all that, and she wound up in the home inspection process. So she does real estate and she inspects homes. She's a very thorough kid.
She really is. I love that. And she does a wonderful job. So between the two of you, she does a great job. So talk to me about, we always see a lot of folks coming through here, asking about rental properties, and what's the process essentially?
So there's a few offices that do rental properties, and all of us kind of have our own niche in rental properties. Mine is in primarily residential housing and duplexes. I really don't expand too much beyond that. I do mobile homes as long as they're well maintained. And then there's other offices that handle better in river property, just various other things. So what happens is that a lot of times folks relocate here for employment. They're coming here because there's businesses and occupations opening up, and don't really necessarily want to have to buy right out of the gate until they understand the lay of the land.
Right.
So rental is a great way to go for their first year, or possibly 2, until they get their feet on the ground. And then, of course, you just have your local folks. Kids get out of high school, they go to work, they start to become independent, and they need a place to live. They're ready to get out of mom and dad's house. And so we help them get started there, and that's a great reference for them shortly thereafter if they want to purchase, because a bank will accept a reference from a licensed realtor as far as how payment history goes on their rental properties. If you're just, Mr. and Mrs. Jones renting a house, they're probably not going to accept that as credit worthiness.
Oh, okay.
Well, and the reason why is because, folks will bend the rules as much as they can, and anybody will write a letter, and they're not going to accept that on a piece of
That's
paper.
true.
So
yeah, that's true.
It's kind of got to be official, so to speak. But so rental properties are not as abundant as you might think here. Most of all my properties are all rented. I only
learned
have 2
when I
or 3
moved
at a
here.
time. Yeah, it is. It can be tough. And then to find one that maybe is at your living level, so to speak. Everybody has different things that they're particular about in their properties. a lot of times renting is no different, and sometimes to find a good, clean, bug-free, smells good, well-maintained property can be tough.
Exactly, and that's what you get with Vic's properties. Honestly, they're very clean. I always get told how clean they are, what great condition they're in,
You've been in a
great
few of them.
location. Yes, yes. So that's always very good.
Well, location can be just about anywhere. I primarily just handle Suwannee and Columbia County because it's something I can drive to and put my eyes on in a reasonably short period of time.
Right.
So as a property owner, if you're thinking, well, gosh, I've been renting my own properties, or I'm having difficulty with the tenants that I've got, and believe it or not, that's how most of the properties I get happen to be in my inventory, is because property owners are having difficulties with tenants that they screened and maybe not as well. And so, what happens is friction starts, and as soon as that starts, people start butting heads. It's game over. I mean, they're ready to fight all the way through.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It can turn into a nasty situation. There's so many horror stories out there about rental properties and people leaving them in a shambles, but I'll be
we've
honest
heard
with
all
you,
those.
that's never happened to me, ever.
That's great.
But I don't get emotionally involved with these folks, man. I mean, that's what happens is if if they're not telling you the truth and you know better, you can't allude to it.
Right.
You just got to be compassionate. You got to be sympathetic. You got to be passionate with them, and just let them know all along that you're only doing this because this is what the process requires.
Right.
But sooner or later we got to help you find another place to go if they're not living up to the standards that the lease sets forth.
Right. And I like that you say that. Don't get so emotionally involved. Because
It's easy when you're a property owner because it's your investment.
Yeah, that's true too.
And somebody's not playing by the rules.
That's true too.
What?
Right. Right.
They're ready to fight. And they may not necessarily come out like that, but it'll definitely come across in your tone of voice. Or maybe a shortness of a sentence that you give somebody. And once you do that, you can't take it back.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't recover that. And they're always going to be ready for you if something else comes up, know. So once you set that pace as a property owner with a tenant, it can be a long road to hoe until they go, until you find someone else.
That kind of works in real estate too.
But as long as you're taking care of them, if they call you and there's an issue, you take care of it. You don't wait a long time. You handle it that day or the next day as long as time permits.
Right.
Keep people happy,
Right.
and everything works good. And I tell folks, look, as long as nobody gets hurt financially, everybody's happy.
That's true.
So let's just play it that way.
I like that way of looking at it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've got different properties, like you were saying. You've got properties with land. You've got duplexes.
There's a wide variety of stuff.
Wide variety, yes.
And if at the website where you go, if you're looking for rental properties, you're going to see that everything says rented, and they are. Usually the only thing that's going to be available is the stuff where it's right up at the very top of the list. But you can get a pretty good idea of what's out there. And as folks as their lease, there's dates there as it shows us when they signed up and when the lease expires. You can always ask and see if these folks are staying or if they're going. We'd like to have a look at it.
I like that.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's fantastic. So what else is special about what you do here with Dick's as well as the, property management? What can you think of that's something that I wouldn't know, that we wouldn't know here?
Okay. So let's say Erica owns 3 or 4 homes, and she's been renting her own places, and she's been doing okay. She's had a few struggles, and most people do, but time goes by and life changes for everybody within a year's time. And let's say you still want to manage your own properties, but you're just tired of the vetting process. Okay, so you can just get with me, and I'll vet your people. We'll work out a process there for us in the very beginning. We'll get nice folks into your property, and then you can manage them from there. So I don't necessarily have to take the property and do it on a monthly basis. We can just help you find the tenant and go rock on from
That's
there.
fantastic. I like that.
So
that's really good.
Works out for quite a few folks.
What about your community involvement?
Well, which one? I'm just kidding.
You have a lot.
Several, but I've always been that way. I even, kids through sports, being a coach for soccer and football and various things. As being in the gym, a girl yourself, I have coached people as far as eating and nutrition and training goes.
Lacey's also got the.
She followed me right in there as well. That didn't no bumps in the road there.
Cute.
I'm also on the board of directors for Habitat for Humanities.
I like that.
I do the vetting process for them, and we try to help find folks that. In that particular arena, most folks come to us from out of the area. You got to either live or work in Columbia County to qualify for a Habitat home. So I have a lot of folks that come to me that are out of the area. I can't help them. But these are for folks that have just had difficulties, not necessarily credit worthiness. That does play into it to some degree. But there's a lot of other things that we look at in that arena, and try to do the best we can to help some folks that would otherwise have to forever be renting and not own a home.
Right.
So so there's that, and gosh, that's, I don't know.
That's
what else
usually
to
our
say.
goal, though. It's nice that you do have the rental properties and property management, but that's usually our goal, is to get people out of renting.
Yeah.
The best thing you can ever do is purchase.
Yeah. And start building
just for
equity in your
yourself.
life. There's folks that'll
Yes,
say, "Oh, wait
yes.
for the interest rates to come down." Well, the generations that we have
Right.
now are kind of spoiled to single-digit interest rates. I remember as a kid, my parents
I
paying in the
know.
teens.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
now it's, the bottom line is, as the interest rates fluctuate, okay, so what? Go ahead and buy your house, because your house is going to be gaining equity the whole time, and it's going to go up in value, not down. So, no matter when you buy, and you can always refinance. So just jump in and go for it. That's really what
Absolutely.
you should do.
Yes.
And most of my tenants that come to me have all had struggles, and I, within 2 years, try to help them get in a position that by the third year, if they're with me still, that we can help them own a home at that point.
And I love that. And I was going to say, one of our early podcasts with Yolanda Wormley with Guaranteed Rate, she had said, marry the house, date the rate. And I think that follows all of us.
does.
Marry the house, date the rate. I really like that.
That's a perfect saying. I need to remember that one for myself.
Yes.
I'll give her credit twice, and then I'll keep it.
Yes, I think Lacey liked it too. Marry the house, date the rate.
the rate.
And it's so perfect, because people were so scared to do anything and do something, because you can always fix it later.
Yeah, for sure. 100%, guys. I mean, if you're in that position, if you're not, fight to get yourself in that position, because it's a great place to be in 10, 15 years if you're still there, because now you've got good equity in your life. You got flexible things to do. So,
Absolutely. Well, thank you very
you're
much.
welcome. I
Thank
hope
you
we
for
answered
being with
everything.
me. Yes, absolutely. You
was
and
nice that you
Maddie,
asked.
thank you for joining me.
Yeah, if you see her in the picture, she's with me everywhere. So anyway, that's who that is. She's my little assistant.
I love that. We'll have remember to subscribe to our show and the entire United Country Dicks Realty Real Estate Talk. Remember to like our show. Here she is. But also, I'm going to have all of your websites so that folks can find you if you have any rental questions, any rental needs, or you just need Vic to, find your house.
Yeah, we're not. Look, the site for the rental properties is not linked to United Country. Can't do that, because
Right.
United Country doesn't fool with real estate property, but Dicks Realty does. So you go to teamlantroop.com. There you'll find listings, you'll find rental properties, you'll find everything that we have here in this office, but in essence, as well as the real estate properties. Many pictures. I don't doctor anything. What you see is what it is when you get there.
Nice.
Yep.
I like that.
Okay.
Well, that's fantastic. So you can find all of this information in the About section. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for being with me.
Thank you. Nice to see you today.
Good to see you. Have a great day.
Bye, y'all.